In the midst of severe destructions caused by the violent insurgent group notoriously called Boko Haram, Borno State looks determined in its work towards speedy recovery and sustainable growth. Although the Boko Haram became famous in 2009, deadly attacks by the insurgents reached peak between 2012 and 2014. It was in these years that the group killed thousands of innocent citizens during serial attacks and eventual occupation of 20 out of the 27 local government areas in Borno State. The insurgents also abducted women and children, many of whom they turned into child soldiers and suicide bombers. Women under custody were raped, while husbands and male parents were mostly killed. Attacks by the insurgents created 54,000 widows and 52,000 male and female orphans, who are mostly unaccompanied after losing parents and relatives to a series of attacks. More than 2 million citizens fled to Maiduguri after insurgents attacked and took sovereign administrative control in substantial portions of Abadam, Bama, Goza, Marte, Mobar, Monguno, Guzamala, Damboa, Kalabalge, Ngala, Dikwa, Kukawa, Konduga, Nganzai, and 5 other local government areas. With the occupation, 2 million citizens who escaped violent scenes between 2013 and 2014 arrived Maiduguri in batches. However, the impact of their tragic displacement was mitigated by different housing projects being carried out by the Borno State government. The Kashim Shettima administration had from 2012 begun the construction of 2,500 houses and apartments in 7 locations in Maiduguri. The sites for these estates include Zanna Mustafa Gardens, which has apartments located on the airport road, the Teachers Estate site along Pompomari, a resettlement estate on Baga Road, another estate site along Dambuabi Road, another site along Bama Road, and 2 more sites on Gubio Road and along Mafadikwa Road. Although these estates were stalled due to influx of displaced persons, they nevertheless provided temporary shelters in the last 5 to 6 years. In the words of Governor Kashim Shettima, providing relief to traumatized internally displaced persons was more important to him. As such, even though some occupants were vandalizing installations, forcing internally displaced persons out of government housing sites was not under consideration.
Prior to the establishment of the ministry, when the destructions began, 2013, 2014, from time to time, and whenever the communities were destroyed, His Excellency directs, and the reconstructions were done. However, when he established this ministry, the mandate was fully given to the ministry, and we have so far fared very well. I may recall that more than 20 local governments were overrun by the insurgents, and this is to say that almost all these local governments were destroyed. More than 20 local governments were destroyed. So many lives were lost. The destructions particularly targeted schools, health facilities, municipal buildings, everything that has to do with government. And in a nutshell, including even ordinary residential houses.
The people of Borno were soon to heave a sigh of relief when between 2015 and 2016, the Nigerian Armed Forces, under a new Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, fought the insurgents to a standstill and succeeded in liberating all the 20 local government areas hitherto occupied by the insurgents. This new era of hope gave room for stock-taking of damages and the way forward. The World Bank, in collaboration with the European Union, the Nigerian Presidency and government in the 6 northeastern states made up of Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Taraba, and Yobe, undertook a formal evaluation using ground and satellite assessment of infrastructure, among other techniques. In a recovery and peace-building assessment report, co-authored by all the parties, the Boko Haram was discovered to have caused damages worth $9 billion across the northeast. Of that figure, Borno State, which was worst affected, accounted for destructions worth about $6 billion. A breakdown of the report on Borno State indicates in specifics that a total of 956,453 private houses, representing 30% of the total number of houses in the state, were destroyed by the Boko Haram insurgents across more than 20 local government areas. Apart from private houses, a total of 665 municipal buildings comprising ministries, local government secretariat buildings, prisons, police stations, and electric offices were all destroyed by the insurgents. A total of 5,335 classrooms and other school buildings were destroyed in 512 primary schools, 38 secondary schools, and 2 tertiary institutions in the state. Also destroyed by the insurgents were 201 health centers, mostly primary health care clinics, dispensaries, and some general hospitals. The insurgents also destroyed 726 power substations and distribution lines, just like they destroyed 1,630 water sources, including motorized boreholes, hand pumps, solar-powered boreholes, and facilities for piped water schemes in Borno State. In addition, they bombed parks, gardens, orchards, game reserves, green wall projects, and poisoned the ponds, rivers, and lakes across 16 local government areas, in addition to stealing over 500,000 cattle. All these, the RPBA report captured, were in addition to setting ablaze markets, large-scale farms, and hundreds of trucks that evacuated farm produce from various parts of Borno State for internal export to neighboring countries. Rather than being discouraged by the frightening statistics being generated before and after the RPBA evaluation, Governor Kashim Shettima decided to take the bull by the horns with his bold declaration to flag off the ambitious rebuilding of communities. The governor's decision was at a time Borno had a collapse in internally generated revenue due to insurgent attacks on economic activities, including transport. It was also a time when the state was receiving far less monthly allocations from the Federation account due to a fall in oil revenue. To Governor Shettima, however, it was necessary for his administration to begin the reconstruction of communities destroyed by the Boko Haram. Matching his words with proven action, Governor Shettima, in October 2015, accelerated the use of Kaga local government in northern Borno for his experiment. The Ministry of Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement, earlier created by the governor in September 2015, was given the mandate to execute the state government's ambitious rebuilding program. Within weeks of constant deployment of resources and repeated supervisory visits by Governor Shettima, about 432 houses were successfully built in Meitankuriri, Tamsukau, and Mainok villages of Kaga and Som in Auno, a village in Konduga local government area which borders Kaga. Aside private homes, municipal buildings like police stations and staff quarters, courts, local government secretariats and palaces of district heads were all rebuilt in the pilot phase. The overwhelming successes recorded in Kaga's pilot reconstruction, which was encouraging so much that the governor later in March 2017 invited Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu to commission the 432 houses among series of other community projects in parts of Kaga, Konduga, and Maiduguri. Meanwhile, the World Bank's Recovery and Peace Building Assessment Report had identified Bama local government area as was attacked by the Boko Haram in terms of the number of displacement and the proportion of houses and other facilities destroyed during administrative occupations by the insurgents. The RPBA report had listed Mobar as next to Bama in extent of destruction. With the RPBA report in focus, it became Governor Shettima's conviction that confronting Bama being the biggest would create momentum for the government and lessen the awful humanitarian situation in the event hundreds of thousands of Bama residents occupying IDP camps are able to voluntarily return to their safe and rebuilt homes in Bama. On the 21st of September 2016, Governor Kashim Shettima temporarily relocated his office to Bama town in Bama local government area. While living in Bama, the governor recruited hundreds of civilian JTF fighters and hunters, facilitated fresh deployment of resident policemen, and mobilized government agencies to begin the sanitation and reconstruction of houses, hospitals, schools, police formations in the local government area. The move by Governor Shettima, which significantly raised public confidence, was widely celebrated by citizens of Borno, the Nigerian presidency, the military, and other stakeholders.
Baba, Are. How old are you, son?
I'm 63 and I never forget you.
Okay, you bought in the civil war. Okay. How old are you?
I'm 67 years.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you, sir. Thank you. What else do
The governor ensured that before departing Bama, after nearly 10 days on the ground, the once highly populated Bama town was being transformed from its ghost state on the governor's arrival to a one cleaned up in the promising path to sufficient restoration. Governor Shettima consistently approved and released funds to the state's Ministry of Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement, then under Professor Babagana Umara Zulum as commissioner. Zulum, who is currently APC's governorship candidate in Borno State, lived in Bama for weeks and months, directly supervising rebuilding works. Borno State government at some point solicited and obtained support from the PCNI and the Dangote Foundation in some aspects of the reconstruction works, even though the most part of funding came from the state government as steadily approved by Governor Shettima. The governor's determination paid off in Bama. A total of 11,000 private houses were reconstructed in Bama town alone. The houses were rebuilt alongside with schools, hospitals, water installations, and other public facilities. Aside Bama, Governor Shettima also approved and released funds for rebuilding of houses in other local government areas.
Be rest assured that we are determined to change the face of Borno. Apart from Bama, I'm going to Goza, I'm going to Lassa, Chibok, and of course, Askira Uba. We know all communities were devastated, but the scale of destruction varies from one community to the other. But we are going to touch the lives of each and every son of Borno, and we are going to rebuild our state brick by brick.
Verifiable records from the Ministry of Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement indicate in Mobar local government area, 7,000 residential houses and other public facilities were built. In Konduga local government area,